Hey, Kat, how's it going?
Hi, yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you both doing?
Oh, I I don't know about how you doing, Roy.
Yeah, well, I'm good.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was just telling him it was I don't know, it was a good day, but I kind of kept disappointing Amy over and over and again. And so it was a sort of a uh thing where I left the car under a crabapple tree and it got covered with crab apples. And then so she moved it, and I said, What'd you move the car for? She said, Didn't you see it's covered with crab apples? But then she left the key on, and so now the battery's dead.
Oh
And I
no.
couldn't get the car started. So it was just this idea of I did something dumb and then she did something kind of funny, and that we just kept going back and forth. Just keep proving who's the bigger goof. But anyway, it was an interesting day. I think we both forgive each other, but
You
I
gotta laugh. You gotta
yes,
laugh.
I know. I mean, I do really. I'm gonna got Dawn and Gary here, but we have a very good cat dream. Um, I don't know, Roy. Did you send it? I can't remember what happened. You said did you send a dream and we
I
didn't want
sent
it?
it. I sent a dream that we I read it Wednesday, but
Oh
we
yes.
didn't have
Okay.
time to talk
Yeah.
about it. But we can do
Okay.
it later. It's no hurry.
Okay. Well, why don't we I will hey Gary and Dawn.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Dawn.
Yeah. Hi. Uh Gary is always brave when he comes at night. I know he's just barely can handle it. Well, anyway, why don't we if you want let's maybe we should finish Roy's stream and then let's start on Kat's stream. I'm gonna see if I can pull Roy's stream up. Roy, could you send it to me again? I don't know what I did with it. Wait, I
Oh,
might have it. Just a second.
okay.
Let me see. I'm gonna just look here. Okay.
In the email, it says giant.
Yes. Okay, I do
It
have that.
says
Yes, definitely,
giant.
definitely have it. All right, just a second here. Okay. And Charles is here. How's Charles doing?
I'm okay. Just working a lot.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Well, good in a good way or a bad way?
Um, Recently it's been pretty tough. I've been like waking up at 5, getting home at 8. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, so it's
Well,
been just really hard every day. But today was a lot easier.
yeah. Well,
And
you're.
now that I'm going to be a manager somewhat soon, I don't know when, but I'm.
Oh, they have actually given you a promotion then?
Um, it's um, I mean, the owner and the upper management haven't like exclusively said anything yet, but the current manager has already told me that yeah, it's going to happen.
Well,
I'm next in line, and he's moving to a different position. So
all
yep.
right. Well, fabulous. I mean, that means a fairly substantial pay increase, I would bet.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, you're on your way. I mean, the whole idea here, I think, is the main thing is that you have got a foothold now in the outer world that is going to allow you to to participate in the outer world um, in a position where you're going to be able to possibly have a family, which didn't seem very doable before, but you're advancing. You haven't been there long, and so I'm just saying that it seems like I really do think that uh, uh, let's just put it this way, that the that fortune is smiling upon you. And is it all by accident, or is it I mean, some of the dreams sort of seem to point to it, even though the dream seemed a little bit, indecisive at some points. But anyway, why don't let's try to spend 30 minutes on Roy's dream, then 30 minutes on Kat's dream, and then 30 minutes on Charles, if you have a dream, or Dawn, or anybody, I don't know, or Gary, Okay, and I'm going to try to finish.
I've got a really short one, but I think it's partial. I'm not sure.
Okay, all right, great. Well, let's get we'll do Roy's, and then Kat's, and then why don't you present your dream, and then Gary, Charles, if you have a dream and we can't get to it, we can do one, just you and me. Okay, I am on a motorcycle. Okay. Okay, and I grab this last part. Yeah, this is a really good way, and Kat's dream is fabulous. I hope Dawn's doing well too. Dawn, you're pretty busy. Okay, let's see. As a single mother and working and everything else. Okay. Well, do you want to read the dream again?
Okay, sure. Okay, here we go. On October the 7th, I had this, the giant. I was in my attic, and there was Neil Young and some people playing music. Neil asked me to pitch in, which I did. There was a lot of bushy, hot pink bougainvillea growing in the attic. The scene changes, and I am in a mountainous area with Luli. Luli wanted me to collect this vine. I climbed way up in the tree to see if I could find some seeds. I saw the vine just went everywhere and decided, no, we don't want this vine. I was going to tell Luli, but she was distracted by another plant. I noticed up in the tree the vista. Way off in the distance, I saw a castle or a great fortress. I was curious and decided to follow some roads in that direction, in the mountains where I could get closer. I am on a motorcycle. Following me are Wayne and Judy in a car. The dirt roads were difficult for them to navigate, so I went up ahead. I was up on top of one of the mountains looking for the fortress. The terrain was bare at this height, and I could see lots of lava or basalt outcrops. I had never seen lands like this. All of a sudden, I saw swarms of gophers or marmots heading towards me. Then I saw a pig with his head stuck in a bucket, squealing. That distracted the varmints, and I escaped down the mountain on my motorcycle. I saw what looked like Wayne and Judy's clothes. I got off the bike to investigate. I heard someone ask a question. I looked up, and there was a 20-foot giant staring at me.
Great. Yeah, okay. This has several parts in it and several chapters, and let's just go through them. Okay, first of all, October 7th. So it's just not, it's about maybe 6 weeks old. And okay, now let's start out with, we are in the attic. We're in an area of the unconscious that is elevated. It is a place, often attics. Now, is this scary attic, or is it a finished attic?
It reminded me of my parents' attic. It's not finished. Nobody goes up there. It's nothing up there. Just rafters and insulation. Okay,
now isn't this funny? So we are up again, and this is what one thing von Franz says, that the unconscious can be either above or below, but it means it's on a level that we're not. We've moved to a different level. Okay, now this level is an unconscious level, but it's not. It's somewhat above. When we go below, we're going usually into the body or into the depths, into the mothers. It seems to be sort of the masculine unconscious. I don't know, but it just, she says that we find bats in the belfry here, in in the upper, this is where the hunchback of Notre Dame hangs out, you know, and things like that. It's just in this upper realm where nobody goes, you know. Okay. But now there's someone there, Neil Young. Okay. Now, Neil Young is this person who is, you know, he's from Canada. He really doesn't say too much other than play his music. You know, he's, you know, a little bit political, but he's just seems dedicated to his music. And then he kind of reminds me of, and his music is, you know, it's funny. My wife says he doesn't have that great of a voice. Well, neither did Bob Dylan, you know, but somehow it's hypnotic. You just listen to it. And, you know, I could name any number of songs he sings. You know, my wife and I both like Neil Young. But he is there and he wants us to pitch in. What's your relationship with Neil Young?
Oh, he's my favorite.
Okay.
He's been in some of my other dreams. You know, he's the muse for me.
Yeah, he's sort of a, I mean, you know, I mean, just some of the dreams, like, I mean, songs that I'm just, they're coming in my head. I can't even think of them. But anyway, now he wants you to pitch in, which you do. So now you and the muse are playing music together up in this unconscious aspect, in the unfinished attic, which is rafters and place, just a mysterious place to be, you know. And there was a lot of these hot pink. So there's this feminine aspect that's up there too. You know, the hot pink represents somewhat the related function, and yet it's this rooted related function. Okay, and they are just big flowers, aren't they? Really, just pink, big pink flowers.
Well, they're vines and they have some wicked thorns on them, and you know, people always cuss and they'd have to prune them. They're quite prolific in growth.
They're like the rose in the Little Prince. You know, they both have thorns and beauty. You know, and so there's an aspect of the feminine that has a thorny aspect. Okay, that's the first section, and from that comes the second section. So now all of this, this definitely is tied into the second section. We don't really know how yet, but the scene changes, and now you're in a mountainous area with Luli. Now, was Luli the one that you took the picture of that was in the hole?
No, that's Louise. Louise is the director. Luli's just a volunteer.
All right. Okay. Luli wanted you to collect this vine. Which vine?
It was a vine and a tree, but I don't know what it was. It didn't have flowers on it.
Yeah, you climbed up in the tree to see if you could find some seeds, and I saw the vine just went everywhere. I mean, in other words, it was a destructive vine.
Kind of invasive, yeah.
Yeah, invasive. Nothing about it that was anything other than destructive to the spice and bar. What do you call it? No, spice.
The fruit and spice.
Fruit and spice place, which is, you know, in Florida, there's a lot of places that have plant refuges, place where there are unusual plants. They collect unusual plants. I remember one place we went to did. Okay, so you decide it wasn't, and you tell Luli that we don't want this vine. You were going to tell her, but she was doing something else at the time. And then while you're up in the tree, I know a vista. Okay, a vista is this far off landscape. And way off in the distance, you see the castle or a great fortress. And, you know, this is the central, it really is the center of the mandala. It's the center of the, it's where the self resides. And you were curious and decided to follow some roads in that direction in the mountains where you could get closer. Now you're on a motorcycle and you are Wayne and Judy in a car, but it becomes difficult for Wayne and Judy to follow. And so you had to go ahead. And then on the top of the mountains, looking for the fortress, you noticed on the way there is the remnants of the contents of the underworld that have come to the surface and have from long ago and have formed rock there. So it's sort of this ancient, there's the idea of the ancient archetypes that have come up from the depths long ago and have formed a very firm crust on the place between us and the center. Is covered with the what has come up from below, and has sort of crystallized there. Okay, and then and you had never seen lands like this before, but it's on the way to the center. Okay, that's that. So we've had these 3 chapters. Now here's the 4th chapter. All of a sudden, we see gophers or marmots. I'm thinking of lemmings too, just heading towards me. And meanwhile, there is a pig with its head stuck in a bucket, squealing. Now, can you imagine seeing this? So you got on one thing, you got this swarm of lemming-like gophers or marmots just coming towards us, and meanwhile there is this. It's sort of a chaotic overrun of the instinctive world. The instinctive world is just almost out of control. And we're involved in it. And anyway, what saved us from the lemmings was this other chaotic aspect of the instinct. The pig whose head is stuck in a bucket, and so it's like it's a man-made thing. The instinctive is somehow blinded by some man-made thing, and just runs around blind, not knowing where it's going, and crying for help. Okay, now that's a pretty interesting picture. Okay, but yet it distracts the gophers and the marmots. And you're gonna have to tell us about what your relationship with marmots are. And you saw what looked like Wayne and Judy's clothes. So Wayne and Judy are missing, but there's their clothes. That's very mysterious, And so now you get off the bike to investigate what happened to Wayne and Judy. Why are they missing? But here lie their clothes. I mean, that shows potential of that there has been something happened that's not good. And then you heard someone asking a question. Someone's asking a question after we get off, and someone's asking a question, and we turn around to look, and there is a 20-foot giant addressing us. They're addressing us with the question and with their looking at us. Now, you said this was Idzubar. Now, but before we get into it, Roy, since you're a very unusual relationship, and I think so does Kat, has a very unusual relationship with the unconscious. Could you just fill in some of the gaps for us so we don't go off in the wrong direction?
Yeah. Kat, I can relate to her. She can get to fantasy really quick.
Yeah.
So that's what I do in the attic. I feel like I'm in my delusion of grandeur state, which I've had all my life, and I still have it. And so I'm in my delusion of grandeur state, and then I'm out with people that I associate with, you know, on an everyday basis. And Lily sort of represents somebody that's never satiated. I mean, she just wants it all. She has incredible hunger for life. And that's a form of delusion of grandeur. It would be cool to have a big circle like they do with women, and you have Hecate on this side and the Virgin on that side, and all these different forms that women take. You would have one of these big circles of all the forms that delusions of grandeur take. You know, there's this one and there's the opposite, and that would be very interesting. So maybe having this hunger where you're never satisfied is another form of delusion of grandeur, and that's the way I'm looking at it. And then I see in the vista, I see this fortress. That's my delusion of grandeur, continuing, classic. Then I try to get to it. And Wayne and Judy are volunteers at the park, and they're older than I am. They're like in their mid 70s, a couple years older than me. So they kind of represent, for me, the older person, which I am. And of course, every time I try to go at the delusions of grandeur, I get close, all hell breaks loose, which happens, all these varmints. And I saw the pig as a chance to escape because it was a distraction. Because when you get really close to the delusion of grandeur, the thing that's out there, whatever you want, when you get close to it, all hell breaks loose. And so I retreated. And then I saw the close of Wayne and Judy. Oh, that to me sort of represents, well, it's trying to ground me. You know, I'm old. I can't do that much like I used to. All I am is like an empty husk, just a persona. I mean, people look at old people, they don't think anything's inside there. And maybe it isn't. You know, it's not like an ugly looking geode that rock that, oh, that's just a meaningless rock, and you cut it open, it's full of crystals. I mean, it's just, they just see the persona, and maybe that's all that's there. So I'm retreating and I'm de-inflating, and what the hell am I doing? You know, chasing these things, you know, believing in these things. And then the giant's the last straw. I don't know what he was asking me, but it's like, he was curious. Oh, look at this cute little thing that's up here trying to discover the fortress. And he was going to play with me a little bit, but you know, it freaked me out because it's very difficult when you get that close to the delusion of grandeur and all this stuff breaks loose, you know, to not freak out.
Well,
yeah.
Now, my father accused me, actually, you know, as far as my delusions of grandeur, it was that I was touched by, okay, here's the thing. I was an intuitive introvert, very, very, and I didn't know it. But I mean, you know, the intuitive, they're, rather than it being a genius at sensate, they're sort of a genius at the gods, or you know, or at what is happening in the inner world. That's what
totally impractical.
Yeah,
that regular people can't relate to. You know,
yeah.
What does this have to do with the planet and life?
Yeah, but that's what an intuitive is good at. Is they're in tune with the fourth dimension. The intuitive function is the only function that exists outside of time and space. Feeling, thinking, and sensation all exist in time and space. Where intuition is sort of is sort of tuned into the inner world, tuned into the synchronistic world. And so I didn't know I was that. And my father said, "You have delusions of grandeur."
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I kind of liked that, you know. I mean, it was actually, and it was true too, you know. Now the delusions are not necessarily delusions. They are out of sync with the outer world. You know, I mean, they are delusionary in the outer world, but somewhere they have a reality. But we have to know, we have to be aware of what reality is. You know, what is reality? Reality isn't the literalness of the outer world, and it's not the completely ephemeral reality of the inner world. It's sort of it is sort of the of the cooperation of the two. You know, you have to have some middle ground. You know, and now the instinctive raises its head in the fourth chapter, really front. So first we're with the muse. He invites us to participate with him, and while we're there, accompanying us is the feeling, the feminine feeling function plant, but covered with thorns. The second section is where we go up to help Luli, this person who also is never satiated and is always looking for new plants. And we find that what she's looking for, this is not what we need. And yet then we see something far off that nobody can probably see but us. Maybe Wayne and Judy can see it. But we know we're curious and we need to go there. The third and for instance, I think you're being a little tough on yourself, Roy. You know, but the third chapter is where we and our helpful companions are going to find it, and we have to. Let me just make sure I'm not missing. To refresh my memory on the text here. Let's see here. Anyway, that's where we see the basalt and the the lava that has come from below has come up and pooled itself on the surface of the earth and cooled and become stone. But it was once under the earth, deep under the earth, came up. That's not something to laugh off. And then the fourth section is where we find only the helpful. They disappeared. All that's left is their persona. We don't know what happened to them. We want to know what happened to them. And then we hear the voice. Now, often in dreams, the angel or the great mother or whatever it is larger than life size. You know, the great mother often appears larger than life size. You know, and so it tends to be some larger than life sized. It is either the wise old man or the self or something that is larger, but it seems to be this Idzubar character, very instinctive, very primitive, you know, who's somewhat tied in to the marmots and the pig. Now, I am telling you, Roy, we could spend 90 minutes on every one of those chapters. Seriously.
No.
Because there's a lot
No.
to unpack. You don't think so? Well, I mean, I think there's a lot in there that just fascinates me. But anyway, let's just hear what everybody else has to say. Charles, what do you think? Can you unmute?
Sorry, my phone is being terrible. I don't know. I mean, I still haven't moved past the first section. That in the attic, Neil Young is asking Roy to like join in on the music. And I think that you'd think it would set the whole tone for the dream. But I'm trying to see how everything kind of connects under that opening scene. But I'm curious what Roy thinks about not just Neil Young and that, but just like how does that translate into life? Having Neil Young ask you to join in on playing music with him, like what does that mean for you within the context of like actual life?
Well, that to me is the muse, and I would like to be able to play music, but I have no talent there. And but I've played music with Neil Young a few times in dreams. He's the only one that I recall that I was able to play music with. And, and it fits into delusions of grandeur. I want to be a musician, but I don't have any talent. It's the delusion of grandeur.
And you see the giant as a personification of illusion and grandeur?
No, the giant is the bar.
Oh.
It's not an illusion.
Oh, okay. All right, that's all I really have at the moment.
Could you just tell us a little more what delusions of grandeur, how do you define it?
I define it as these people that think something's outside of them that they want, but they never get it. It could be money, it could be the fortress, it could be to taste every delicious thing in the world, or have experiences that other people have that they don't have the opportunity to have. That sort of area.
Are you sure the fortress is outside of you? How do you know it isn't inside of you?
Because I had to get on a damn motorcycle to get to it.
All right. And go across this ancient, eventually you would have to go through all across the ancient, sort of like walking across the stromatolites that Cat walked over. What do you think, Gary? You look very serious. I think you're thinking.
Yeah, so I think the keys are really in the end, but I'm just going to mention a couple things. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it starts with the pink bougainvillea, and then so maybe there's delusion of grandeur, but there's the growing thing there too. There's this thing which is alive and real. And then, we're now with Luli, and and again, we go for this special growing thing. So that's twice. And then you find the peak where, so on the motorcycle, you find the peak where you can look out over the landscape, and searching for this fortress. And you see the basalt and the lay of the land. To me, it's like the metaphor. You start to see the lay of the land, okay? And I think that's really important, because if you see the lay of the land, then the things that are delusions of grandeur may settle down. And then there's another key to this as well, and that is that we see, the natural element. I don't see the swarms of gophers and marmots as necessarily being threatening. To me, it's, I guess on a motorcycle it's threatening. Maybe if you're running over them, you fall over.
You weren't there.
but it's again, there's this feeling of, kind of the aliveness of the attraction. You're kind of pulling the things that are close to nature into you. And so, I think, and they're distracted by the pig with his head stuck in the bucket. You see that as being, I look at that, you thought that was good. I look at that like, well, pigs are very close to humans in a lot of ways, and, him having his head stuck in a bucket, that might be like a comment. I'm like, nah, you don't quite see it yet, but then the giant. And the giant, a lot of times giants, what do? They ask riddles. But if you can ask the riddle, you get through, you get to the fortress. So I actually look at this as like, this looks pretty positive to me. I like the lay of the land on this one. It's kind of like, you're figuring things out, you're moving closer. You may have to figure out the riddle and figure out why that pig's got his head stuck in a bucket,
What was his question? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, that'd be nice to know.
No, I don't. But I felt like he was going to have fun with me, kind of like a cat and mouse.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
there's the pink bogan.
Oh, pretty, really pretty. I want those in my attic.
Well, Kat, what do you think? I'm just going in the order it shows on my screen. I don't mean to.
Well, it's all very interesting, and if it's delusions of grandeur, I wouldn't mind it being my dream. I'd have quite a lot of fun with this, personally. What can I say that hasn't already been said? The thing that strikes me, I like the landscape with the lava and the basalt outcrops or whatever. It's almost like an alien landscape as much as it's a natural occurrence. It just feels to me a bit alien, a bit foreign. The thing with the gophers and marmots or whatever, I mean, I think of them sort of burrowing underground, sort of socializing, I think tunnels and that in the earth, and they sort of rise up. And then a pig squealing because it's got its head in a bucket. Well, pigs are domesticated animals. Again, they're animals, they're natural instincts type of thing. They're like abundance and food and things like that. But there's almost for me, a comical thing with the pig with its head stuck in the bucket, because pigs can be quite sort of stubborn. Do you know what I mean? And again, it's like picking up on like what Gary said. It's kind of like, what am I not seeing? What I'm not hearing, type of thing. What's sort of cloaking my vision, cloaking my what I'm, what am I not listening to or whatever. And then the giant, I can't help but feel like this type of Gulliver's Travel type of thing. It's kind of like, what is the giant overlooking from its lofty point of view? But then me as a small person, what am I not getting from my not being in a high vantage point?
That's great, Kat.
That's me.
It's very good. I think the thing, one of the interesting things she mentioned was that the instinctive world that just starts coming towards us. Now, this is always so important in Roy's dreams. See, now in Roy's dreams, often you don't even see a person. You just see animal representatives. Here we have Wayne and Judy, we have Luli, and was there any other people in the dream other than the giant?
Well, Neil Young, but I don't know.
Oh, and Neil Young. Yeah. So there was Neil Young. So we had Neil Young and we had Luli. So that's three. And then we have Wayne and Judy, who are a couple, who are kind of represent, that aspect. So there's three here, three there. Here's Luli and Neil Young, and over here is, I don't know. I mean, the whole idea, I think, is the to me, I'm just going to tell you what how I would look at this dream, is let me just go back, or I've got to go back to it. Okay, now I know I'm going to get, first of all, Neil Young and the dream ego are in a unconscious space, but not the one below. It's in this unfinished attic that is full of this this feeling function colored. It's actually a combination of rose, of white and red. You know, it's a combination of spirit and feeling, and it comes out to be pink, and it's all over this unconscious area where no one goes to in the attic. Who's up there? The muse. We are invited to play music with him. So there's the idea of that we're playing music with this lyrical aspect in us that it comes up is a recurring theme in us. This sort of he's sort of a heroic male bard, and we are playing music with him in this a place where no one goes, that is filled with this feminine vine. Okay, that is the this threshold of this dream, which is at the threshold of the dream, and then we pass into the dream. Okay, and so what did that mean? And then as we're in the dream, it has to do with while we are while we are going up a mountain to see, or up a tree to see if there's this vine there that Luli, this busy person from this fruit and spice bar, wants us to find. We first find out this is a wild goose chase. This is not what you want. But while we're up there, we see far off, on a far off vista, and it's in the yonder realms, the castle, a great fortress, and the castle. What would be in the great castle or in the fortress? The fruit and spice bar? What is this? This is not in the ordinary world. This is outside of the ordinary world. We're looking into the other realm. Okay, and there it is. Now that other realm is our inner realm inside of ourselves, really. I mean, it's not, it is, we're looking into, now remember, we're not the master in our own house. The ego is the projection of the unconscious, not the unconscious is not its projection. And while this part of the unconscious, we're seeing the home of the guy who is the landlord of our house. That's his house, okay? But it's on a far off vista, and the space between here and there is vast. Can we ever cross it? No, we will never be able to cross it. And the space that goes over there is covered with the remnants of the unconscious that go back thousands and thousands of years, and I've almost become fossilized, and yet that's on the road to this place. Okay, and then in the final section, we are there with Wayne and Judy. I mean, the marmots come, the marmots and the gophers, these underground beings, instinctive beings, sort of not ones we can really relate to, even though they're mammals, and they just start coming towards us. It's just like we're going to be overrun, but with them. It's like being overrun with rats, in some of those horror movies where rats are all over you, and what distracts them is something out of Alice in Wonderland. I mean, I think this even almost occurred in Alice in Wonderland. A pig with his head sticking up. I know I've seen that in some movie or something. A pig with its head stuck in a bucket. That distracted them long enough so we could escape the instinctive surge that's about ready to overwhelm us. What does that mean? The instinctive surge that's about ready to overwhelm us.
Self-preservation.
Yes. Something, just this instinctive surge in us is always a threat to overwhelm us. you know, yet somehow through the aid of the bucket covering the instinctive pig, we sidestep it. And you know, before we can take a breath, we hear a voice. Now this, again, is not something that occurs in the ordinary world. And this is the equivalent of the Great Mother, but it is male. And it addresses us and wants us to respond to an inquiry. We don't know what it is, but we need to respond. And there's two aspects of the response. One is the look of addressing us, demanding a response. Another one is the question. We don't remember what it was, but it's demanding a response from us. So what would the response be? You know, after all of these adventures that have went in before, the Neil Young and these fabulous plants in an attic, you know, strange place. Secondly, this aspect of seeing the far off castle, fortress. There's no castles and fortresses anymore. So what's there? We know what's there. We're curious. We want to go. We want to go find this place. We'll never reach it because it's so far off. And then the instinctive surge. Then the missing the friendly. We don't know. I don't know what that means. I mean, it somehow the helpful companions are no longer there to help us. They were help us. They just kept falling behind. Now their bodies are gone. All that's left is their clothes. So now that's all that's left between us and the great fortress is ourselves and the great plain. And so we don't know what to do. Do we go find? I mean, this journey has somehow been shortcut by we need to find out what happened to Wayne and Judy. And then seemingly making that question irrelevant is the demand that's asked of this larger than life figure within us who demands a response. Now we all have that someone within us that demands the response. And do we ever respond appropriately? You know, I don't know. I don't know. Roy, did you have any?
No, that's really good. I just got stripped down to the bare essentials. That's as far as a moral can go. And I'm at the mercy of whatever comes next.
Yeah, and there is a response that's demanded of us, but it follows these four almost each one possessed a high point. Okay, there was a high point in each one, 3 peaks, and then a request for a response. You know, I mean, there was that one, Neil Diamond, 2, seeing the great fortress and this valley between. Oh, well, then the second, the valley, we see the valley between, then this instinctive surge, the strange apparition of the pig with the head in the bucket, and then the apparition of the one who's greater than ourselves, demanding a response, which is really I think the point of the dream. We need to respond. You know, okay. Well, anyway, why don't we try to split it up between Kat's dream and which I think we're going to have fun with. Kat, why don't we, let's see, we've got about like 45 minutes left. Why don't we spend about 25 minutes with your dream and then maybe 20 minutes with Gary's dream?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. If we don't finish your dream, then we'll just come back to it Wednesday.
Yeah, and I wouldn't worry about mine. Mine was so short and stuff, and I think it might only be partial. So let's mostly focus on Kat's.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to love Kat's dream. Hi, Tim. We were just going to talk about a very interesting dream that Kat had, with all the interesting dreams she's had. So,
great. I was in another meeting. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. we just got done with Roy's dream, and we'll go on this one, and then maybe we can start with you and Gary's dream next time. So let me just get this in here, see if I can find it. This is a fairly complicated dream, so I'm hoping I'm not sure if we can get to the meaning of it right off the first time, but it is definitely one that is interesting. Okay, some of them I think are more. As we get further down the road, the mist clears. Okay, let me see. I gotta get the second part. Okay, let's see. As we get further, let's see. Okay, let's see. As we get further down the road, the mist clears. Oh yeah. Okay, and I'm going to put the last part of these. Some of them, I think, all right, might even take through. Let's see, some of them, I think, let's go here. Darn it, come on, guy. There goes some of them, I think. Copy. See if this is going to be enough. All right. Okay, and this one ends with what we want to purchase. So there's just a small part at the end here. All right. Let's see. All right. Okay, we have some items that we want to purchase. Now this cat is a really complete dream. Let me put this into, and she just had it a few days ago, like the 28th. So that was just about a week ago today. So you want to read the dream, Cat?
Okay. I'm outside and I'm thinking about the trip to America next year. Suddenly a Native American man pulls up in a truck and tells me to get in. And he looks like Russell Means, the actor. I say, my friend is driving me to Tucson. However, suddenly me and my friend are with him in the back of his truck. He says, as we are driving on like a main road, we're going on the reservation. I'm not sure if I want to go on there. However, we pull off the main road and go down a dirt track, only for a very short while, and then we're on a road. I see lots of tall, spaced out trees and a low hanging mist. And I briefly see a summit of a mountain. I say, wow, because in the mountain, it's got like these huge sort of petroglyphs. And he said, if you think that's amazing, wait till we get further up the road. And as we get further up the road, the mist clears, and then I see a huge mountain range and a summit with lots of rock art and rock faces and these petroglyphs. And in the dream, I think to myself, these petroglyphs look more sort of South American. And then he mentions something about the Blackfeet Indians. That's what he said, but if that's not the proper tribal word, I apologize, but that's what he said. Suddenly, we're in a busy town, and I see a row of shops, which you lot call stores over there. And one of the shops has the mountain rock and the rock art over its entrance. So we park up. We're now at a shop, and there's lots of glass windows. He tells my friend to go and speak with this old woman. I had to go with him. I see the old woman and my friend. I see the old woman dressed in denim jeans and a denim jacket. However, the old woman has very little to do with my friend. me and the bloke go off and talk for a little bit, and then he tells me to go and get the old woman. So I go to where she is, and she doesn't want anything to do with me either. So me and my friend go to a shop. We see a young woman of colour serving behind the counter, and she's dressed like a waiter. And we mention about the old woman. She says, "Oh, she's like that with everyone." So we go to purchase some items, but they're in like black plastic bags, and we scan the barcodes. And it was at this point that the young girl says, "Oh, look, she's here." And the old woman comes into the shop. And it looks like, and I feel like, that she's come to talk with us. And that was the end of the dream. Now, the funny thing was about it that when I'd woke up from that, a few hours later, I saw on Facebook an article about these petroglyphs in this cave out in Colombia or something that goes on for about 8 miles, that has all these petroglyphs. They're calling it the Sistine Chapel or something like that. About 12,500 years old or something like that. But I just thought that was interesting because I dreamt that, and then I saw that sort of
That's the thing.
anyway afterwards. But
Same
that's
moment. Yeah. Okay. Well, again, this is a dream following the one about the stromatolites, and let's just go through it real quick. Okay. Now, first of all, we're waiting outside, and we're thinking about the trip to Arizona next year. So there's this aspect that we are going. What do you think about Arizona? I mean, it's sort of this wonderful desert area. It's where, the most famous Indian there is Geronimo, of the Chiricahua Apaches. He's actually, I think, was killed in Tucson, or something happened to him in Tucson. I remember seeing the thing, and then there's the Navajos and the Hopis and the cliff dwellers. It's just a wonderful area of petroglyphs and ancient Indian relics. But anyway, we're thinking about that place, and this Native American man who looks like Russell Means. Of course, Russell Means was involved with the Wounded Knee, and I don't remember, Dennis Banks and Marlon Brando and a lot of other people. Here's when he was very young. That's him and Dennis Banks. I mean, basically just trying to. He was Ogallala Sioux, and he was from South Dakota, but he was involved with what was called the American Indian movement, and he worked with Indians all over the Western Hemisphere, and indigenous peoples everywhere. And he worked with Marlon Brando, and they used to appear on talk shows together. I don't know if you remember, but he was appeared on there, and he did eventually become an actor, and he was in a lot of movies playing a Native American Indian, But anyway, he is a sort of a shamanic character. We learned from Kat's on Sunday that she's deals with shamans. Is that correct? I mean,
I have come across some of them. Yes, I have.
Okay, so yeah, he pulls up in his truck, and he asks us to get in. This great man who's close to the earth, close to nature, invites us to ride with him. We say we know we're going to go with our friend, but then suddenly we are and our friend are in the back of his truck with him, and you're driving along. Now he says he's going to the reservation, he turns to the right and goes, he's going away from civilization into the realm of the native peoples of this continent, the continent that you're going to. And we're not sure if we want to go. He pulls off the main road, drives on a dirt track, and then back to the main road. And we see lots of, in the mist, we see lots of trees spaced out with the low-hanging mist over them. And we look out and we see a summit with strange markings. Petroglyphs. Okay, now petroglyphs are found everywhere. And you know, where my grandmother was born in Norway, they have this big rock called Flota, and it's covered with prehistoric carvings of Norwegians skiing, of their Viking boats with the big trumps, all their oars in the air, and it's 14,000 years old. You know? And anyway, they're very interesting rock carvings. Now, you know, someone is recording something. You know, we can't ever see what was recorded in wood or anything like that, but we can see what's recorded in rocks. And the Indians of the Western Hemisphere, along with the Africans and the Australians, are very prolific petroglyph or rock carvers. Okay, rock carvings are not exactly the same as I don't know. Most rock carvings are not cave paintings, but they're just something that's carved in the wood. They might have some pigments attached to them. But anyway, so we are amazed, and he says, "You think this is something? Let's just go further ahead, and you'll see what really is beautiful." And so then the mist clears, and we see a huge mountain range with lots of huge rock art, petroglyphs, and some appear South American. You know, South American or Central American, could be either. Mentions or see Mexico, the Incas, the Peruvians were Incas, the Aztecs in Mexico, and anyway, we're and you know, there's also Machu Picchu. I mean, these wonderful places. You know, the great. Of course, they would build pyramids and things. Just a prolific civilization, pre-Columbian. You know, and okay, so then he mentioned something about the Blackfeet. Okay, so you know, in it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't make any difference, but the in New Mexico and Arizona, it's the Navajo, Hopis, and the Chiricahua Apaches, and then in Russell Means was Lakota Sioux, and then where Tim lives is where the Blackfeet Reservation is. Yeah, the Sistine Chapel of the Amazon. That's so anyway, that is that part of the dream. We're introduced to this. Now, what would this mean? It's sort of, we're introduced to the runic world. You know, I had this aspect of that I had to see. You know, I had this one something about a stick with runes on it. I mean, it is mysterious symbols and writings. Okay, it's mysterious symbols and writings that are not literal. They have to do with the inner world. They are this sort of art. They are whoever did them was almost like trying to take a vision and making it real and concrete in the outer world. So they're trying to take something that was in the inner world and make it concrete and real in the outer world. So what we're viewing in the rock art are the artifacts of the inner world. Yeah, Roy, what is where did you see the Sistine Chapel of the Amazon?
I'm trying to get a picture
Yeah,
here in
let
the
me see if I
chat,
can-
but I don't know how to do it. I get this 400 kilobytes, you know, this thing you have to click on, but I don't know if it works.
well, let
if
me
you click
look.
on it. But it is the Sistine Chapel of Amazon. I can't just get the actual picture. Can you click on it and get the actual picture? I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I got
yeah,
it.
what? Yeah,
It worked for you, Tim? Okay.
Put it in
Yep.
the chat.
Oh, it's awesome. If you've never seen it, it'll blow you away.
I can share it on the screen if you
Yeah,
want.
okay. Yes, please do.
Here you go.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's really astonishing.
Yeah.
So where
Mr.
is
Reed.
this, Roy?
Let's see. I can tell you in a minute. I have an article
okay.
on it, but I'll
Gosh,
get
it's
back to you.
beautiful. I've never
It's,
seen that before.
Let's see. It's some of them haven't been seen for 12,000 years. There's mastodons from 12,000 years ago. You know,
I think it's in Colombia, Tom. Tim, sorry, not Tom.
yeah, in Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a whole newspaper.
Yeah, it
It
is.
goes
I mean,
on and on.
very, very busy. I mean, and you know, now these do they look like they are actually look like not they are paintings. They're rock paintings.
Yeah, hematite and stuff. They make
Yeah.
that paint out of hematite.
Mhm. But they are very vivid, you know, I mean, with their reds. So-
Okay, this is in Tupaya de Cerro Azul.
Mhm.
And let's see, is that Colombia? Yeah, Colombia. The Serrania La Lindosa region of Colombia.
Wow.
Yeah, well, this is what Kat is seeing, you know, on these mountains, and it's just absolutely captivating, you know, and she's there with this this shamanic character who comes out of nowhere, uninvited, and takes us there, and again, almost against our will, takes us there, and almost certainly to behold this vision, you know. Okay, so then now we're in a busy town. And we see rows of shops, and there was one with petroglyphs at the entrance. Russell Means tells our friend to go in and talk with the wise old woman, or the old woman in the denim coat and the denim jeans. She doesn't want to talk to her. And then Russell Means tells us to go talk to her. She doesn't want to talk to us either. So we leave. And then we go into another store. There's a woman of color there who is selling these petroglyphs. We buy some petroglyphs, and she also tells us, "Don't worry, this old woman is like that with everyone." But after we make the purchase, after we show the interest in these artifacts from another time. From another realm, you know, they were made by humans, but the inspiration for the image did not come from the human world. It came from their familiars, their dreams, their visions, someone, and so these ancient products of a more natural. An existence that is more in sync with the our we haven't become so sick, you know, the ego hasn't become so sick yet. It lives in synchronicity with nature. I mean, it lives you know, where they're hunter gatherers. And so the images that they're looking at are the ones of the hunter gatherers. It is the natural way of the humans. And they are, what's this one, Tim?
These are petroglyphs, so they're carved.
Mhm.
And I was looking for some that I found in Colombia, but this is in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean,
I have that article. I put it in there in the chat. You can click on it. It's in the Guardian. It tells all about it and has some more pictures.
Oh, great.
yeah, it is. Anyway, it's just now let's Kat, have you lived in the UK your whole life?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have. So I
Okay.
don't know anything about sort of petroglyphs and sort of Native Americans or anything like that. And there's nothing going on in my life that sort of would suggest all of this. Do you see what I mean? It's totally different.
But it's the same with the stromatolites, though. What's that have to do with your outer life?
You know what I mean? You know, when people say, "What's going on in your waking life?" And it's like, well, nothing as fun as this, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. I don't mind if I hope you don't mind. You know, there was a sense of and you can flesh this out a little bit more, that you were experiencing, you felt betrayal everywhere. And in fact, you know, the gods betrayed you and left you.
Oh yeah.
And at that point you started to have these elemental dreams. Is that the way the timeline?
Well, the betrayal was like, well, of what actually happened or whatever, but was a couple of years ago. But it was with Charles's dream that I sort of got
Yes.
smacked in the face with it. And it was kind of like, it wasn't so much of the actual incident. It was kind of like, oh my God, I've sort of betrayed myself. All this time sort of thing. And I kind of got it, and it kind of moved through quite quickly sort of thing, because I'd done a lot of work. So it was all right type of thing. But I think, yeah, there is some kind of thing that I do have at this moment in time with not really particularly trusting mouthpieces as such, you know, with too gods or goddesses with, you know, too much personality. I'm not very trusting of that at the minute. I know it sounds weird, but I mean, because I had trained in shamanic as a shamanic practitioner for, you know, about 12 years ago or whatever. But I'm not really into it anymore because of kind of what happened. So I'm sort of building a relationship, if you see what I mean, but using my dreams, because a lot of that, you're taught to trust in these beings, and if you don't build these relationship with these things that are outside of you, well, they're part of you, but they're also very much distinct personalities, then, you know what I mean, there's no kind of real development of self, because it's you do as these spirits tell you to do, and that's it. There's no inner wisdom,
Inner
coming
transformation. You know,
Yeah.
I had the same experience. I was worked with Michael Harner. I went to a couple of his seminars, and these guys were unbelievable at going into the depths, into trances. But I thought, what's the purpose of it? You know, I mean, they just seemed like they're going down there and to see things and everything. But they're when they come back, there doesn't seem to be any relatedness to the visions, any aspect of, like you say. I just thought, for me, it didn't work. You know,
It's kind of like, again, it's kind of like you're this little human being, and these things are all powerful and wonderful and everything else. And that was kind of like when I made the refusal because of the sort of betrayal, and that led to the sort of nervous breakdown or whatever, because I just didn't trust in anything, dreams or whatever. I was kind of like, do you know what? You can all, because people would be horrified if I, guys, because I basically told the world and his wife and his dog to stroll on, do one. I didn't give a shit. I don't care whether you're, I don't know, Mother Teresa, the Queen of Sheba, the Pope, Jesus, the Christ, or God itself. You could all do one. I didn't give a shit. So then, then
You
I
need to
had,
take a stance of yourself. You're the only
Yeah.
one that is. You are. You. There is a question that's being asked of you and of no one else. And you know, it's like they said about Rabbi Zusia. It's not that you're not enough like Abraham or Moses. It's not this that you're not enough like Cat. You're not enough like Zusia. And that is the riddle of the universe for you. And you know, in Jung's stance, you are you take a Promethean stance. You do not give up your status as a human. You know, there's the famous dream where he had with his father, where you know, his father wanted him to. This is Jung's father, whose name was Paul Jung. Wanted him to, you know, bow down and touch his forehead to the earth. He wouldn't do it. Jung would not do it. And the idea is that he is going to confront this world. This is the whole thing about Answer to Job. He's going to confront this world as an entity, and there needs to be a relationship through it. But you know, like the soul told me, I do not want your worship. Don't do that to me. I need your collaboration. I need you to be the you to be the perceiver of my images. Okay, what were you gonna say, Karen?
No, I can totally relate to that, because it was after I sort of ranted and, as I said, told everyone and everything, or whatever, dreams, whatever, to literally stroll on, don't ever darken my doorstep again. That a couple of nights later, that's when I had the you have an iron will, and what is your contract with God? And then it's like, well, that can jog on as well. That can do one. And then it's interesting, after that, I've had these sort of gods and goddesses dreams, which again has helped me to, you know what I mean? You have to express your essence, however that, whatever that is. And it can't be, you can't be fearful of what other people say, because it ain't actually about the other person. It's about the relationship with yourself, the relationship with the creative forces that have made you, that's within you, that's within everything. So, but the thing is, with spirits and that, now I'm kind of like a bit reluctant to go back and listen to, well, my spirit's told you that and you've got to do that because my spirit said. It's almost shirking responsibility over to something outside of yourself, and you can't really argue with them, because that's seen as belligerent. And who do you think you are? You're just a human being, but you're not. You're obviously more than that. But do you see what I mean?
Yeah, there needs to be a set. Let's hear from everybody else, because there's just some tremendous experience here. Roy, now relate this to your own experience.
Yeah, this is why I like Jung. This is so Jungy. Nobody else does that. You know, that's why I wrote the thing about Job. Job was able to dialogue with the God. It's all about, with Jungian, you dialogue with God. You don't totally submit. I mean, that's the essence. Nobody else is doing this. I mean, it's crucial. I mean, I will never let go of this. I mean, this guy, I mean, Jung, this is it. I mean, why is this so hard to understand? Why is this so hard? It should be ringing bells. I don't understand it.
It is. It's a collaboration. The philosopher's stone cannot be created by the self, by God. It can't be created by the ego. ego. It can only be created by the collaboration, equal collaboration between the human and I want to tell you what other thing. Here's a little deal about daemons, okay, like elves and fairies. They have everything in the world they could possibly want. So does God. They don't die. They don't get hungry. They don't really have any wants, and yet they do have a lack. What do they lack? Okay, in the case of the elves and fairies, and I think it's the same case with the deities, they lack the promise of youth. They lack that aspect of of always becoming a new thing all the time, the promise of youth. And so what the elves do is they steal babies, human babies, take them back to the fairy hills so that they can bring the promise of youth back into the elfin realms. And they leave this wizened old changeling there, but that's the aspect of what the gods lack. They lack the promise of the new thing. And the only way the new thing can come is through the human being who goes up and down the mountains of the world with the lion roar of illumination, careless and fearful of nothing. It's one who has really achieved freedom, and he's achieved freedom from something, from a, he really has united with his own nature. I mean, that's the idea. I think there's a lot more to it.
Would you say, sorry to interrupt, so would you say that the human has more shift into be able to change states? I mean, you can be, whereas the deities are kind of in their essence, in their energy, like more fixed in nature. But with a human, you can experience many things. You can be a poor man, you can be a beggar man, you can be a thief, you can change masks.
Every day you're reborn too.
Yeah.
And the Dalai Lama says every minute you are reborn. I mean, there's this aspect of this was in Hasidism, where the Baal Shem, every day he rose from his sleep with fervor. He rose from his bed with fervor, for he had become a new man and worthy to create like the Holy One when he created his world. So every day we are able to create a world that's never been here before. But we can't do it with the ego. We need to do it with the help of the petroglyphs and with the inner world. Tim, do you have any comments about this?
Boy, I'm fascinated with the whole imagery, and to me it seems like a cosmic dream because you're going right back to the origins of the human being, and the native person who is halfway between nature and civilization, and finding the petroglyphs in the mountain is like looking at the universe and reading the meaning of sublimity. It's just so huge. So I'm really stuck on that, and I haven't even started to think about the row of shops and trying to get in touch with
and the old one. Yeah, the old one. But before we in the stromatolites, we met the first signs of life on this planet 3.5 billion years ago. With the petroglyphs, we are finding the dawn of consciousness. The dawn of consciousness in the world. It's very related to the stromatolites. Jung calls it the second creation. The second creation is where this person on Mount Elgon looks down at all the gazelles and the flying birds and everything and realizes, I am here. He stepped out of the mist. And this was this second creation. Gary, what do you think about it?
Yeah, let me go through the dream. We haven't really gone through it.
Yeah, okay.
So you're outside waiting and you're planning on going with your friend, and you think your friend is it. But instead, it's like your choice in this is taken away. You're being taken on a trip by the psyche. And so you go down this road less traveled, not to the main center. So that's how the whole thing begins. And then you see lots of trees, the connection to the earth. So this tells me that the journey is kind of going in the right direction. And you see the hanging mist in the summit of the mountain, saying, look, this could be it. And then the petroglyphs, I like to think of those as symbols that, this is like, so the symbols with the psyche, this is the way that you can work out, the questions with where you're at now. So you get to the area with the shops. And again, you're thinking of going with the friend, but again, we get the answer that, what you think is the path, what you think is the association, what you think is the relationship is not it. And instead, you go with the same, person that you began with, and you talk for a while. And so then you go to get the old woman who, was supposed to be with the friend, but again, the rejection of the friend, to me, which is saying like, what you think some of this is, some of the relatedness is not it. And so, the path is a little bit different than what you're thinking. So let's see, then we get, you get the comment about how she's that way with everyone. And then, there are some things that you have to purchase. The purchase is, this is the kind of accepting it into yourself, but they're in black plastic bags. You don't really know what they are yet. And so, the things that are hidden. And I guess the dream ends there. But to me, that's it's saying that, it's a very solitary path, and it's a path less traveled. Anyway, I'm going to stop there.
Let's hear what Charles has to say, and then maybe Kat. We don't have much time, but maybe we'll see if Kat can. So let's hear what Charles. Do you have anything? We'll have to finish it up next time. It's just too amazing of a dream.
I mean, I don't really have a whole lot to say, but I knew just from the first quarter of the dream, I don't know, I just kind of knew early in that it was what I would describe as a holy dream. And I don't know, I mean, the dream with the Stromolites, whatever they're called. To me, this is a similar dream, and it just mine, my sense that I get about it is that there is a path, a timeless path that Kat is embarking on, and it's the path of spirit and magic and wisdom and revelation, and it's the path to home.
the native land.
Yeah.
The land, the land of our, it's the land where we feel at home. In other words, just someplace where we know this is our homeland. You know, but anyway, Kat, do you want to sum up what you can on it, and we'll finish it next time.
I think you've already touched something, and especially you, Charles, because I have been kind of like, well, what is my path and things like that. And to be fair, when I think about it, I have had lots of dreams where I think that's the path, and there's lots of people there, but I can't seem to go where they are. And it's kind of like this as well. But at the same time, you're kind of like, well, what is it? How do you begin to invite that in? It's in you, but how do you begin to see it, walk it, materially, if you see what I mean? Because it's kind of nice, it's all there, but at the same time, you want something tangible which you can touch, taste, feel. You want something that bridges the two.
Yeah, it is. Now, one of the things Jung says is there is no, the goal is the journey. So the goal is really dealing with this dream. And that is the journey is the goal, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think the tangible thing the only thing we have before us right now are these images, and incorporating. Now, if you're asking what to do in outer life, I don't know. I think
mad.
Yeah, I would think what you do in the outer life is you incorporate this into your actually, by just considering the dream, it loves it. The unconscious loves what you're doing when you absorb this dream and you start to walk around it, you feel it. Now, what happens after that? What Jung says, especially if you draw a picture of it, you are never the same again.
Yeah.
You have changed forever because you were dealt with this dream in that serious way. You answered the question of the giant. Okay. And then in the after, and since you're never the same, the dreams are never the same too.
Yeah.
Because of the work you did on it, the dream responds. So it's leading somewhere. You see, it really is. You know, so the idea is that the gates of heaven never open. You know, but that because you deal with this dream, you incorporate it, it becomes part of your temple, your inner temple. You know what Jung said one time is that we are living tabernacles. You know what a tabernacle is? It was the temple, the movable temple. And he says that we are living tabernacles. And so the idea is that this has been a revelation of your own myth. And it needs to be incorporated in your myth every bit as much as the crucifixion did in Jesus's dream. It needs to be integrated into our. It needs to. It needs to be embodied. Really, we need to embody, and this is why Robert Johnson always wanted you to do a ritual memorializing it, because then it will never leave you after you do that sacred ritual, honoring that dream.
So, just a quick question or a quick comment here. And because Kat, you asked, well, what do you do? And I think it's actually the wrong question, because it really comes down to, it's a question of doing or being. But it really, what it really is it's, I think it's just exactly what Craig said at the very end there. It's how do you embody that space? It's a question of being, not doing.
Two things we offer are the medium of expression of the dream, and also it's finding the meaning in it, you know. And the meaning is not any. If you know, the meaning is not something that can be uttered aloud necessarily, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's try to finish it next time, and we'll do Gary's dream, and also Tim, if you have a dream, or Dawn, if you have a dream, and Charles, if you have a dream and you want to do one early, just give me a call. You know, I mean, Charles has a never-ending stream of dreams, and they're all important. But we'll see. I mean, I will get Gary's dream, and we'll try to get as many as we can. But anyway, next time we're going to have to finish Kat's dream.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, Gary,
Thank you.
Tim, Kat, Dawn, Charles, and Roy. See you later.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.